All right, what's up, guys, and welcome to episode 4 of the NOBS Powerlifting Podcast. Um, Today's episode is gonna be, I don't even know if we have a title. I guess we'll title it Jamal Browner. And yeah, today we're gonna be having an exclusive interview with Jamal. Like Jamal doesn't do much podcasts, I feel like. But
I've never done one.
Yeah,
Well,
like
I've done a couple, but I've never done like a King of the List podcast, like in podcasting type stuff. So,
we should start with that. Why? Why
Yeah.
have
honestly, I don't think, like, no offense against what's his name, Ryan.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares for untested powerlifting at all. In my opinion, he's a person of power that can control certain narratives, and I don't ever want him to paint a narrative of me that's not true. I seen when he did with Jamar when he's like, "Oh, trailer park to da 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 da." I'm like, there's more to Jamar than just trailer park type stuff. And it's like I get it that it's a title, but same time it's like, let's highlight who he is as a person and not like the bad, everything he went through. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even me, like my time in the USAPL and me getting banned and everything of that nature is like, I don't ever want that to be painted in a bad light because no one ever really knows that true story unless you're me, you know what I'm saying, or the people around me knew.
Yeah.
So it's like he's asking me multiple times, but I'm like, yeah, nah, because at the time when everything happened to me, a lot of people in the USAPL quit fucking with me because I was so new to the sport, and I went from being a nobody to somebody real fast because I placed second in the juniors at 2017 World National.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2017, and I was fifth and open in the 105s, and it's like that was my second meet. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm new to the scene and making a name for myself like right off the bat, and shit hit the fan, man. I'm like, yeah, nah. It's just for me. It's like I just want to be in control of my narrative, and I would never let someone else, do that for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd be comfortable going out on a limb and saying that the reason you haven't done many podcasts is the same reason that me and Rondel wanted to start our own, which is bring one that doesn't do that to people for the most part. Which is, and Ron, the fact that you're not just in the car but you're on the move right now is actually crazy.
It's crazy.
No, okay,
it's
so
crazy.
yeah,
what is he doing, bro?
I'm not driving, so that's that, right? Like I'm.
All right,
Yeah.
So the background was just moving. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not driving. How many passenger seat?
Oh,
real?
You remember we drive on the other side of the road?
Yeah, facts. All right, never mind.
Okay.
I hope your Trinidad connection doesn't. We'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
All right, but honestly, to start, just because you just came from it before we get to whatever career and life things and blah blah blah, you just pulled 10:53 at the Gymshark event after. I mean, I don't want to say a rut, but at least 6 months of not being able to rip 10:53 off the ground. Like, how did that? What happened? What was your plan? And like, what led you to load like mid a K's on there?
I mean, honestly, this training block kind of was going okayish until I had to travel, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. Telling Bill, y'all probably can't hear it, but she's over here making a fucking breakfast in the cage, but dealing with the dog and everything, and doing that. Then next thing you know, it's like, okay, now I'm at the event, and I was supposed to deadlift on Friday, but they didn't have a deadlift bar, and the kilo plates weren't out yet. And to get to a gym to go do all that stuff is going to take 30 to 45 minutes, and I was really short on time. So I was going to do it. I was going to deadlift on Saturday when Kyle did the 900 pounds, and I think Tyson, and I think Tyson was in there as well, but they still didn't have a deadlift bar. So I'm like, I'm not gonna, do something that can, in a sense, like hurt my back again. Because when I did that block with the stiff bar, I'm like, it put me out of there. Because I'm trying to lift heavy on the stiff bar is like, it's cool and all, but for me, my ego gets in the way of like lifting weights and having to be weaker than I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not gonna go out there and not do what I want to do. Because I wanted to pull over 900 pounds. I wasn't gonna do like 925 for a triple. But then on Sunday, I told the heads, Gymshark Noel and Danny, who was in the cage for the PR cage, I'm like, yo, if y'all give me a deadlift bar I will deadlift tomorrow. And they went out and got me a deadlift bar from, I forgot what gym it was, but appreciate you, Andrew Black, if you're watching this episode. Andrew brought a deadlift bar from the gym and put it in the cage. And I went out there and pulled something great.
Not to mention, 4 days later, what'd you pull today? Pull it up.
I just pulled 1,003 for a double. It was supposed to be a triple, but I'll take it. I mean, it wasn't.
When it comes to the stiff as well, when you're talking about not hurting your back, all right, wait.
It felt rough.
Yeah, it felt rough, bro. You pulled 1053 4 days ago. What do you mean? The fact that you can do that period is ridiculous. How do you feel about that?
What do
I mean, I feel
we put the 1,003 for 3 on our best lifts of all time, right?
it was 4.
Wait, it was 4?
It was 4.
4.
Yo, low key. This is gonna be. I edited it in the other one. It's the only part of the podcast I edited where every time we said 3, it muted our voices. We were wrong. It was a chill set of 4 too. Honestly, you might have had 5. I don't know about 6. You have to see the 5th to know, but like it wasn't at 10 by any means.
Doesn't seem there.
Yeah, it is. So I don't even know what to say about that. That's absolutely ridiculous. And when it comes to a stiffy coming and pulling, because at the LA event, I thought the same thing. They were like, pull. And I was like, no, this is ridiculous. It's different. A one-off day on a stiffy versus something that you're used to training on is a totally different thing.
Exactly. But I was surprised. Going to that, I had no clue that was going to happen, honestly. I was, like I said, like I was iffy. I just do like 900. That's going to be impressive. Most people here, like no one here sees 900 pounds, so I just do there. Then I did 925, and it flew. I'm like, yo, Joey, what should I do next? He said,
Yo, Joey, bro.
let's do 1,000. So, because I mean, he's a more like objective guy there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he knows powerlifting and he knows my training. And he's like, yeah, load up 1,000. I did 1,000 move. He's like, jeez, I'll go up one more. I'm like,
wait, you pulled the K before the 1053.
huh?
You pulled the K before the 1053 as well.
Yeah.
Send me that later. I did not know that. That probably flew if you went 1053 after.
Let me see it. Let me find it real fast.
All right, let me see.
I just there's a fucking glare.
It looks like, bro, I need that so bad. Bro, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah. And honestly, it moved probably just as well as this, or maybe a little bit faster.
Yeah.
What you
I think if I'd have done the triple on that day, that would have moved well for a triple. It's just about finding my groove and getting in that groove. But with that crowd and everything, I don't think I could have felt anything, honestly. I think if I would load up 505, I think I would have had 505 that day. Low key.
Then I wish you did, bro. Goddamn.
I told my YouTube video, Next Lift event, if everything's trending in the right direction, I may do something crazy there. But I really didn't plan to lift over 1,000, and it just happened.
All right. Well, you know what? You're the only guy I know that goes in without a plan to lift a K and ends up pulling a K, regardless of whatever social facilitation and cheering you have going on in the crowd. That is incredibly unique to you. That's sick. And to see, especially while you're picking up training right now, because we're going to touch on last meet performance and things like that and plans after, with momentum like coming in again, especially on these squats, like 683 triple that you did, bench coming back a little bit. It's nice to see the top end also following like while you're in volume. It's sweet. But you were talking about a deadlift bar, and something massive happened yesterday. I don't know if you know about this, but Kabuki and like Chris Duffin retired and pretty much announced like the end of Kabuki. And I know that me and you have gone, I don't know how many hours we've talked for real, which I can't believe it happened the day before we're supposed to do this because it's awesome. We were going to talk about the Kabuki a ton. But now there's a lot more to talk about because we're talking about a guy, right, who, I mean, whatever, competed, has been in the sport forever, makes an equipment company, changes the bar preference, right, gets the contract from the USPA at the time, which owned everything. That was before WRPF and USPA split. Everybody on the untested side was there. Gets that massive contract, then doesn't even produce enough supply to meet the demand of the feds to have this bar at every local meet, let alone in every gym for every lifter that needs to prep and actually go ahead and do it. Puts this bar in, fine. I have gripes with it. You have gripes with it. A lot of people had gripes with it when it happened, but we accepted it. We were like, you know what? Took my pull down when it happened, took your pull down when it happened. For damn near a year, we were trying to figure out this thing before, K and all of these things started happening. It inflates all of these records, right, naturally, but we just accept that all of the records are going to be elevated. But 2 years afterwards, he dips out, essentially discontinues the bar, and it's looking like this isn't from any of the heads of the PLU or anything like that. But I have a pretty credible source of super good friends with all of those guys who are saying that they're probably going to put in a regulation at the beginning of 2025 that bans the bar. What do you think that does to records? I know I want to see the bar out of here. I know you do too. But once I saw this yesterday, I started thinking about the implications of what does that even mean? Like, how are we supposed to chase these records? Do these records get voided? But they can't because, you can't do that to the person. When Danny pulled 1075, that was, it wasn't his fault. That's what they were using. That's what the Fed, but like, how are we supposed to compete with 1075 and things like that, right? Whatever, John's record coming up, all these records coming up, and this guy just dips, like the biggest scumbag move ever. What do you think about the Kabuki overall and then this retirement?
That's crazy. Honestly, I didn't even know about that. But I say the Kabuki had this moment in time. Not saying they should do away with the records, but it's a toss up because the standard changed. You know what I'm saying? Coming from the era before us where, Dan Green, Eddie, all these guys, like they did, like Ed Cohen, like they all did their deadlift on the Texas, you know what I'm saying? And that was the standard. And even like the Ohio deadlift bar, and what else deadlift bars there is.
Now there's a surface now that they're using in abs, which is a little bit less stiff or a little bit more stiff than an Ohio road bar. So if the Kabuki leaves, then the most whippy bar that's allowed is the Texas, which was the strength of open powerlifting.
And the Texas deadlift bar should have been the standard no matter what. I don't know why we changed the standard to begin with. That was already enough coming from, stiff bar, which in like tested to, untested with the deadlift bar. I think the Texas should have remained the standard. I mean, when I broke Yuri's record, I pulled on the Texas at the hybrid. And that was, the standard at the time. And I did the lift underneath the standard. But then the bar, that new bar came in and like all the records got inflated. I mean, from, I don't know most of the classes, honestly, all the records are inflated.
You guys think you guys are just saying that from the perspective of being two guys who didn't benefit from the bar initially? Because I know both of you struggle with the bar change initially, or you feel like from an objective standpoint.
But for me, my trajectory is going to be where it was no matter what. Like I think, like I pulled my first K on a fucking Texas deadlift bar. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to use the Kabuki to pull a K. You know what I'm saying? I was already close.
I think you would have pulled more. Like I think you'd have been closer to 1050
for sure.
On the Texas.
For sure. I think so too. That's when the standard changed, it made me have to figure out a new way to pull because that whip of that bar kept changing my lockout. And I had to slow down and like speed up. And it's like a lot of things kept changing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it just changed a lot. But then a lot of people caught up with certain lifts. No offense against John, but like John was like mid 800s, you know what I'm saying? With the Texas deadlift bar. The next thing you know, he's pulling 940. Like, I get it, he's strong.
It's crazy.
But bro, what?
931.
He can get so much higher hip and like pull like really hard. It's like if he was on the Texas deadlift bar, like I think he would be around 900 right now. I don't think he would be 940 pulling. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
I'm excited to hear here's the only thing when it comes to John is it is incredibly raw regardless, right? It wouldn't be like somebody like let's take Danny, right? Who has like this crazy advantageous deadlift position, very similar to mine. The degrees that he's going to gain out of that are going to be more than Danny, but it's objective, right? As soon as we saw the Kabuki come in, to your point, Ron, the fact that both of us were people that were disadvantaged by the introduction of the bar. I mean, I remember that was when we were both like at peak strength. Like right when it got introduced, Jamal pulled his first a K hook like a few times on the normal Texas and then the Texas 2.0. You remember that?
Yeah, it was like a prototype. Yeah,
whatever it was. And I just pulled 827 with you at that GBT event on the Texas as well, which was like a 20-pound PR from like 2 months ago. We were both never doing better on the bar. So I see what you're saying that like, yes, inherently we definitely have some sort of bias or some degree of bias when it comes to the fact that it came in and just immediately helped certain people. But at the end of the day, we both far surpassed. Like I'm what, 80 pounds up now or 90 pounds up from what I did on a Texas. We both suffered like a year of adaptation. And that's honestly what pisses me off maybe the most about the whole thing is I stalled my career and my chase of records for a year to adapt to a bar that I assumed I'd be competing on at the biggest meets throughout the course of my career. Jamal did the same thing. When you're talking about a year of an elite powerlifter's career, you're talking about roughly 10%, right? If we want to go on like the average lifespan of somebody that really sticks with it being a decade-ish, that's a long time spent stalled out. And to now go 2 years later and like come back, it kind of destroys. So I'd like to think that as much of my bias has been eliminated by it, by the fact that I've now surpassed these by so far, and clearly Jamal has too, right? I mean, you pulled the 1,003 on the Kabuki there. You almost hit 1033 at the pro. Your big 500 kilo strapped was on the Kabuki. So I'd like to think we're coming at it from like as objective of a standpoint as possible, and just like how do you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've built my name on like basically 500 kg. Not saying like that's all I do, but like I'm strong. I'm strong is strong. You know what I'm saying? No offense, but like I think if I could, I think I could do. If I had done 500 kg on the test, I think I could have moved it the same. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it. I think I could have done it either way, but it's just certain things that like I don't think Danny. Like, not no offense against Danny, I think he could have pulled 1,000 by now on the tests, but him pulling 1075 on a Kabuki.
Really, I don't even want to say Dan. I don't even.
His feet are touching the plates.
I don't even want to say Dan couldn't pull 1075 because it's speculation, right? What I can definitely
speculation. This is all just
a friend of all of us, by the way. I love.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love Dan. He's a good guy.
Not me.
Objectively here, where it doesn't matter whether he could progress to it or not. It's the fact that like immediately when the bar was introduced, it was like it wasn't like a strength gain thing, you know. It was just on that bar the exact same level of strength that he had.
It was a leverage game.
25 or 1075, where it was like, okay, that really changes things. What were you saying, Ron?
No, I was just saying it was just a random outburst. I was saying I'm not necessarily friends with Danny. Like we just like I know him.
No, I'm not like friends with him. Oh my god.
I'm friends with Danny. I love Danny. And Danny actually, now I'll only say it because he's healthier now. He just sent me a video. Actually, I forgot to respond to him. I have to go back and look. But whatever. He had a like slight quad tear like 6-7 weeks ago that I thought was relatively because he went with, you know,
he was getting strong too on the squat.
Super strong. You know, Tom Bro, the Theo Maddox's coach, the Colton, whatever. He went with Tom Bro recently from Casey, which was like the first coach switch in I don't even know how long.
A long time for him, yeah.
And he was dogging squats. Like for the first time, we saw Danny like actually pushing his squat like that. And I was a little worried when I heard the quad tear. I don't even know how you tear that guy's quad without a chainsaw, but tore squat. And then literally, and then he just sent me a few days ago, 860 for a double like butter. So like he's back, but I'm actually very curious to talk to him about what he thinks about this Kabuki thing, because I assume he's going to be also pretty pissed. Like, you know, it's ridiculous. But with the fact that we're talking about the bar and the bar not really being in production and PLU coming in as this new fed with all of these things, I want to know what you would like to see from PLU. I know you're probably happy about the bar change, but outside of that, what changes do you think they could make and bring to the untested side, maybe in tandem with abs, if you know anything about that? But what would you like to see them come in and do?
I mean, if you're going to create a new fed, the fed, especially in powerlifting right now, what's like kind of doing well is the tested side. I mean, just kind of getting the standard as close as possible, but still keeping the freakiness of what we do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I say all the time, if the USAPL adopted, or tested federation adopted the untested side, where we're allowed to do 2-hour weigh-ins, and use the combo racks, and keeping like that standard, and just allow us to still use our drugs. Just maybe even I would love for the USAPL to use the Deadlift bar. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, that would, like, any tested fed to use the Deadlift bar. I mean, my thing is, like, that's gonna push everyone's numbers up, but allow, like, the freakiness factor of it. Like, it would be crazy that the records would skyrocket. You know what I'm saying? Like a Jesus. A Jesus is so strong. If you use the Deadlift bar and been a tested athlete, I think he can pull a K. You know what I'm saying?
Typically, Jesus is somebody that I use as an example of somebody that would get more than like the standard 10 to 15 keys.
But
like that.
For me, it's like it's a matter of grip, but also it's like the pulling on the stiffy, like the health, like, of your back. Like, your back, most people's backs would be healthier, especially coming from squatting to then benching and deadlifting and the meet, and you get to pull on a deadlift bar. Their numbers are going to be skyrocket. Like, Ron pulled 925, 930. You know what I'm saying? Easy. But it's like, just kind of, what's the best of both worlds and putting them together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and right now, I wish a PLU would adopt 2-hour weigh-ins and have strict on classes. If you don't make weight, you know what I'm saying, you list as a guest lifter, and go ahead and like and input all those factors and rules. That way, like, nothing can be challenged. You know what I'm saying? Use it. Go back to the Texas. Make that the standard and keep that the standard. You know what I'm saying? And then use combos. You know what I'm saying? Like, my thing is, like, there needs to be a standard, and the standard should always be the standard. You know what I'm saying? But changing what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Like, what's the point? Oh, hell, even fucking tested going 24-hour weigh-ins. Imagine Rondel gets to do a 24-hour weigh-in. Like, you make weight one day, next day, you have fun, bro. Like, the meet's gonna be more fun. It's gonna feel less like a job and more like, I get to, like, this is a hobby for everyone. You know what I'm saying? And if it's gonna be a hobby, let it be a fucking hobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people have to, this is their joy in life, and this is something that we get to do. But then trying to compete in powerlifting, and now I got to make weight, now I got to compete same day. It's like, it's so stressful in that a lot of people get out of the sport faster than they need to. They never get to their full potential because it's so stressful. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, if you make it more fun, like 24-hour weigh-ins, you weigh in one day, the next day you get to go out there and just have fun and compete. You rehydrate the next day, and now the numbers that you put up in the gym, it's going to be easy to replicate those things on the platform.
So this is the point that I was making, where I was saying I believe that it would benefit powerlifting as a whole more for tested to move towards 24 weigh-ins as opposed to untested going 2 hour
sure.
weigh-in. But I was saying, but I also understand your point in that with the 24 weigh-ins, you have a lot of like just drastic shit going on. Like, where you might have like someone who might be in like a weight class, like 2 weight classes up, and like, just because they have the ability to cut weight and still perform in like a 24-hour period, they have that like insane advantage over somebody else. You know what I mean?
But that's fun. I mean, that's still a skill in there. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying like it's not easy to do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can't cut weight. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people suffer. A lot of people. But I'm saying, like, say like there's one day you can, okay, if I just make weight for this one weigh-in, then let's say, for the next 24 hours, I get to kind of recoup, relax, and then I get to compete.
Mm-hmm.
Life would be easy. Like, I don't think you would have Rhabdo that day. You know what I'm saying? I think you would have been fun.
But the opinion that 2-hour weigh-ins should never be a thing. I think if we're going to do 2-hour weigh-ins, because here's the thing, is anytime that you set a precedent like that, 2 hours, if it's 2 hours, 24 hours, 12 hours, whatever it is, you're allowing people to push it as close to that line as possible, right? So if somebody screws up on a 24-hour weigh-in, like, yes, there's going to be more drastic weight cuts made because people know they have a full 24 hours to get right. But you still have a full 24 hours to get right? If somebody like, let's say, Ron, right, not to bring it up, it's not a fun period of time, but before Ron competed at his first USAPL meet, there was a different meet planned, that meet in Buffalo, right? Where Ron was like, yo, I need to make this 105 at the time. 4 years since you were 105. Tough call.
Yeah.
But it was like, yo, I need to make 105. And he did it. He pushed it really hard. He made weight. And then he went into rhabdo and started seizing up and having all these cramps and like horrible, horrible things, right? It's really irresponsible, in my opinion, to tell the strongest guys in the world, you have to make this weight class, and then you have one meal and a Pedialyte to go replicate your strongest numbers ever and be stronger than you were before. 24 hours or right before your first squat. If we want to be true to weight, right, then no weight cutting at all. If you just straight up step on the scale and walk on, everybody's on an even playing field. Everybody moves up or down in dots, right? Because you're going to move more weight, but you're going to be But 24 hours, I think 2 hours is a really weird time, you know? I think 24 hours, just like every other sport, every fighting, there are fighters that are better at cutting who cut 50 pounds, and there are fighters who, you know, can't cut at all, cut 10 pounds. But it's still a part of their sport. And if every other high-level sport does 24-hour weigh-ins for their elite athletes, I don't see why it's not the exact same here. So you're in favor of 24 hours on both sides, not PLU going to 2 hours.
Yeah, if both sides did 24 hours, that would be dope. You know what I'm saying? I just think that would raise the freakiness factors of some of these tested athletes, especially like a Perk, you know, a Bob, Ashton, even a Russ. You know what I'm saying? Some of these guys are able to kind of do some crazy things, but due to the restriction of a 2 hour weigh-in, they have to be so close to weight that it fucks them up when it comes to their numbers, because like, I got to get as close as I can without, you know, not saying like taking too much off, but being close where I can just make weight and then recomp just a little bit. Imagine you had 24 hours, you know what I'm saying? Like you might see some crazy things. Who knows?
Not even to mention the week leading up to it, right? When you're supposed to be peaking, if you're watching your diet, you're not recovering the same way. If you can eat up into a meet, it's a whole different game, you know?
I keep hearing you say something. I think you said it like 3 times already. Freakiness factor. I've never heard anyone say that. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
I mean, it's just, my thing is like, when we're a sport that we're in a niche sport, right?
Yeah.
And how do we appeal to the masses? We appeal to the masses by doing some crazy things. So like, I am known mostly for my deadlift and being that strong, and that's how I made a name for myself, and that's how you bring more money to the sport, right? But it's like, there's no money in the sport because there's no, how freaky can it get? You know what I'm saying? Like this, why I keep saying freaky, bro? But like,
Bro,
but in that, it's like, that appeases the mass, because like the average gym bro just wants to bench and like put a lot of plates on the bar and lift it. You know what I'm saying? The average person, that's all they want to see. So how can we make that more, like, in a sense, close the gap between, okay, in our sport, we know what strong is, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes when people looking for an outside in, they don't know that that person is strong, because that person may be only lifting like, I don't know, 2 or 3 reds, you know what I'm saying? But like, okay, now you allow a 24-hour weigh-in, now you allow that person to be that much stronger on the platform. So now the mental aspect, whereas like I say this all the time, like I think I've made people numb to 900-pound pulls by doing it so often. You know what I'm saying? Now you get to see women and like even like lighter men do some crazy things, even like heavier men do some crazy things. So in doing so, you get to kind of, okay, be stimulated on the way that it's like, damn, that person is really strong. If he can do it, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? Me saying a Perk squat over 700 pounds, all getting close to me, that makes me want to get stronger. You know what I'm saying? That pushes me to be a better athlete. Me seeing a Cranon, you know, pull 600 pounds, oh, fuck no. Ain't no way. I got it, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's that freakiness factor allows for better viewership. It allows for better, you know, storylines, and allows for, you know, just more interest in the sport, because now you get to see things that you've never seen before.
If everybody is at their best, everything's going to be freakier.
It's crazy. Like, a lot of people haven't, when you look at it and look at people's numbers and training and what they've done on the platform, you haven't seen a lot of people's best, honestly.
Agreed. Yeah. Like, massively agreed. But when you bring up this weigh-in thing, right? And when we bring in like POU changes, you briefly touched on it, and we all know, right? I have no problem. You guys know I have no problem. John is the undisputed GOAT. I assume neither of you have a problem with that either. But I know you've had slight gripes with the way that the WRPF in the past have handled, not just John, but he's a good example because he's one of the guys that.
Oh, I mean, I can talk about my last meet at the Ghost Flash.
Yes. Please.
So John has signed up for 198, right? I signed up for 242 as I always do, and I made weight. So we're, what happened? We're just got done weighing in, rehydrating, and Alex said, "Yeah, John is going to compete as a light 220." I'm like, whoa, wait! But he signed up for 198. He said, "Nah, John texted me halfway through his cut that he's going to, stop his cutting and do 198, or do 220, and I allowed him." I'm like, at this is supposed to be high level. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be the elites of the elite. How we're allowing someone to jump weight classes and can't make weight when they sign up for a weight class. You know what I'm saying? If that's what they're gonna do, then that's what they're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people are not saying it was gonna change anything. Not saying I was gonna win, but like, if he signed up for 198 and can't make 198, he should be a guest lifter. There's no way he should be allowed to compete and still win the money from the meet and like the accolades and awards because he, you know what I'm saying, is John. Like no offense against John. It's more my gripe against the meet director, Alex, at the time. Yeah. Like, I even had a quarrel with Alex. I'm like, yo, like, why he shouldn't be allowed to do that? If we're supposed to be pros, like, no. If you're a pro and you take the sport seriously, make weight. If that's what you signed up to do, make weight, bro. Like, it's that simple. Like, I did it, they did it, everyone else did it. Why can't he do it? You know what I'm saying? Why is he getting a pat on the back for, it was too hard, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna stop my cut. You know what I'm saying? And he put up a great total. You know what I'm saying? Why didn't he just sign up for 220 and just do 220 instead?
Garrett was a massive run. Which, by the way, did you guys see Garrett pull yesterday?
Yeah, I loved it. I'm like, Garrett, is Garrett back in the sport?
Like, yes. What did he post?
He posted. No, he just posted. I'm happy he posted.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, he's back in the sport. I'm like,
it was like 585 Ron, and then he said he like partially shit his pants and stopped. Like, the most Garrett thing I've ever heard in my life. But he, what's it called? Garrett I was just happy to see him like open up Instagram and see Garrett pulling, and it looked good too. Yeah. But he was a massive proponent always of making weight being a part of the sport, right? Like, you know exactly how neurotic he was about cutting and really keeping people to a high standard when it came to cutting. So you think that the repercussions for somebody not making weight should be as a guest lifter, but their record should still hold based on whatever their performance, but they shouldn't be eligible for winning the meet or for the money, is what you're saying, yeah?
For sure.
I agree with that sentiment.
Because that turned me off. I'm like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? If we're going to continue cheating the sport and making and gifting lifts and all this stuff, is like, we're just making a mockery of what we're trying to. If this is something we take serious, like, why are we making a mockery of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we allowing bullshit in this sport? You know what I'm saying? If the standard is the standard, let's keep the standard. You know what I'm saying? It's like, make weight. You know what I'm saying? Lift the weight. Like, hit depth. You know what I'm saying? Lock out your deadlifts. You know what I'm saying? All the right things. Like, I don't care if they're your buddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, bro. Like, this is if we're supposed to be pros, the fucking NFL ref don't care if you know what I'm saying? Or it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't care. No one, like, make weight, bro. Like, lift to the standard. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's all I gotta say. But it's like, it's too many buddies, and it's like, we don't take the business of powerlifting as seriously as we can, and it will forever be small. It will forever be niche if we don't start making changes in the right way and start like progressing the sport forward. If we continue to kind of let things, whatever, you know what I'm saying, it's going to forever be a niche sport. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is growing a lot, but it can grow a lot more.
It can grow a lot more. And do you know anything about this app? Just because, right, when it comes to, right, I don't agree with all of their stances and, whatever. But when it comes to a standard and upholding a certain, whatever, prestige when it comes to meets and a certain standard when it comes to depth and this and that, abs, right? I don't know if have you heard anything about this, Fed?
I've seen a couple compete there. Like I seen Brianna compete there. I seen who else was it? Trying to think. The 275. I
Shane?
think. Huh?
Shane?
Arias.
Who?
Fernando.
Arias. Oh.
Fernando Arias competed there. Shane just competed there in the Rumble.
Yeah, Shane.
Just did.
Well,
But
who just won?
Zach.
Yeah, Zach. I seen Zach compete there.
Zach.
So like, I like because it's on the stiff bar too, which is crazy.
Both.
But
the Rumble is on a stiff bar. That's why I'm curious to hear, because something that they certainly are bringing is like a non-negotiable consistent standard. And these things being really, really, you would love the way that they do their stuff, honestly, in terms of making you feel like an athlete, mandatory press conference, all of this stuff before your own singlet with your name, all of these things on it. And maybe you need to wait for you to get slightly more exposure to it to really pick your brain on the Fed. But I think a lot of the things that you just addressed in being issues with you over the past, 4 years or so, I think they're correcting. So I don't know if you'll ever step on that platform, but after a little bit more time, I want to pick your brain on that Fed. But while we're on Ghost, why don't we talk about this last performance and kind of what led into it and your mindset afterwards and kind of what you're looking to do now at this next?
Honestly, what led into it? It was a really bad. I'm not saying it wasn't a terrible performance, but for the goals that I had in mind, it was bad. Honestly, I had a lot going on personally that I'm not going to disclose on here, but like it was more so like me dealing with all that than coming from. I did the strongman comp. So what had happened was I had messed up my adductor, and that was like early that year before the strongman comp. Messed up my adductor, and that's when I kind of decided, okay, yeah, I can just do conventional deadlift and be fine. Like I still deadlift, I'm fine. I just can't squat. So messed it up, didn't really rehab properly, and I gained a lot of weight to do the strongman comp. So, and I kind of quit squatting heavy. I was just more focused on the conventional deadlift. So that was the goal in mind, just to pull as much as I can on there. And then I did the strongman comp. I got up to like 270, and that was the heaviest I've been ever.
Huge,
honestly.
bro. You were huge.
That was the heaviest I've ever been ever. So, in doing so, not squatting, having the adductor injury, and then gaining all that weight, kind of wasn't the best starting point to prep for a meet. So then after the fact, I kind of took some time away for like a month to kind of just like ease back into training, try to get my body weight down. So after the strongman comp, I was trying to cut weight, but still like gain strength, rehab, and get back to, myself, and that's being like strong on the platform. So it's like trying to do all those things at one time wasn't the right approach. I should have just kind of focused on rehabbing first and like cutting weight, then building my base back up. Now it's time to kind of get back into prepping and try to prep for the meet. But I was trying to do so many things at once that nothing was going right. I was kind of half-assing everything. The weight was coming off, but it wasn't like, it was more like
You have
the weight's coming off and I'm off.
leverages. You have no business making massive composition changes in prep. You have to go in leverages, and a full block of training and volume to actually go in and be like, if you have ever changing leverages throughout a meet, especially coming down, you're trying to peak as you're losing weight. It's a recipe for disaster. Do you think think that the strong? Well, first of all, you were huge, but how was it feeling tiny at Giants Live? Those dudes are.
I don't think I felt tiny. I think I just felt like. I mean, I was the smallest guy there, but it's still like it was an experience. You know what I'm saying? No. It's like when it comes to strength sports, I think they do well with making. It's like a mixture between WWE / CrossFit / like powerlifting. You know what I'm saying? It's like
they're freaky.
They're freaky guys, but they also have personalities and they sell themselves well. And they did it like the media team and like the people in the head of that organization did a great job of kind of making it more of a spectacle and making it entertainment. And it's not like, even though those guys are just there to lift weight and like do different things like that, but they made it, like feel cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I had the American flag. I came out to freestyle little baby. It was like, damn, like this shit is dope as hell. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a little guy for commerce. I never thought I'd be here. You know what I'm saying? All I did was lift some weight and look at me.
Especially,
but it's like,
that crowd is a whole different thing in strongman.
It was crazy, bro.
Yeah, which is sick.
But then like get back to prep. Then trying to prep. So after I started losing all that weight and trying to squat, I was having real bad like elbow issues. So then now my elbows are killing me, and I can't even. I was telling my dad I can't even have squat volume because like trying to lift heavy and like my elbows, like it was fucking me up. I couldn't do it. And that messed up my peak. That messed up my everything. Like I couldn't. We were literally on the platform like it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a bad day. There was no in between. Like me and Rondel knew what was coming.
Break down what was going through your mind on the squat, because that like second squat was traumatic for me to watch. So I can imagine like actually going through it first.
So like the first squat, I'm like, okay. Like this is my first time being on the powerlifting platform like a year. I'm like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? I walked out, I'm like, oh, okay, feel good, but it's got a little heavy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then the second rep, I'm like, okay, let me just lock in. And if I just stay in my groove, I can do whatever. I literally I made a little video about it, but I got out the rack. Next thing you know, I just start falling backwards. Like my stability was gone. I'm like, what is going on? But
Yeah.
I was not in it. I was all over the place. And I fell backwards. They had to catch me. And then they told me, yo, you still got time. You know, you still want to try it. And, you know, I said, like, just, move the rack out of the way. I'm not going to walk it out. So I got on there again and tried again and went down and got folded. My confidence is gone at that point. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to just cut it here, get the bench, and get the deadlifts and do whatever I can from that point.
Why do you think you were able to like salvage a good deadlift on that day? Because I was basically like a deadlift PR in a meet, right? Well, actually in a meet or like all the time. Like, have you pulled more than 10 hook?
I think I pulled 1030. I don't think I locked it. 1025. I don't think I locked it out properly, but like I pulled that much.
Yeah.
Close to lockout.
PR after that period, after that squat is insane. Yeah. Maybe that says something about the strongman training and going to conventional, just like having this brute strength reserve in your back after all that time. That might have been the only positive that came from it.
Yeah, but, I mean, the deadlift, I was happy about that, so that was good.
Should be. And then that night, whatever, we had a friendly, aggressive, motivational call or whatever, and something that we talked about was the fact that for somebody like you, right, that's consistently over the course of at least 10 years been stringing these blocks together like so perfectly, just head down and doing your thing. Marietta Jamal, right? These just stacking these chips where this strength is almost like always consistently there. Like stepping on the platform and maybe missing one lift that's at top end is just something that happens to any power lifter. But it's not the craziest thing in the world to think about the first time that you dip out of that, not really thinking about the reality of like, wait a minute, I'm stopping something that I've done consistently for 10 years. Like maybe the squat won't be back the second that I hop back into this and make all these composition changes and blah, blah, blah. But since then, we talked about your mindset coming out of that meet. And how has training been going, and what do you like want to do at this next?
Training's going well. I mean, honestly, I still have a lot going on where my mind is focused on a lot of different things on the back end to kind of set myself up for the future. It's more so like powerlifting is cool, but being who I am and having a platform and trying to still be a high level like competitor there's no money in this sport. You know what I'm saying? I make more money doing the social and like being more of like the personality, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes trying to still be a competitor and still be the personality is like it's hard to do at times. So after the fact, I still wanted to do a powerlifting meet, still want to, put up, I don't think I've had my best performance yet. You know what I'm saying? Due to injuries and things that have come up, you know what I'm saying? I still want to add that performance on the platform, but I just think I need a proper prep. I need everything to kind of go the right way. I need a great off season. Like I was going to do an American Pro too, but I didn't have the best off season for me to kind of, go into a prep and do it. And for me, it's like I'm at a point where I don't want to continue just like kind of half-assing things or, half-assing the prep if I can't focus on the prep. So I decided to kind of just take an elongated off season, just work on building my base really slow. There's no point of kind of rush back. My body weight is down. I'm 245 in the morning. So I'm at a good point where like I can just continue to build and just gain momentum and start here. If I don't want to rush anything, you know what I'm saying? I just want to do it right. So I just want to have one last good performance. And from there, I just want to like move to the back end of things. Cause I mean, trying to still be a top athlete, it's like there's pros and cons. There's give and take. And I can yes, I can give my all to it, but I'm also losing out on other things. And those are things that can, in a sense fulfill me a little bit better. And like in the sense of financially or emotionally and mentally. Because like trying to prep is hard, you know what I'm saying? Like prep isn't easy, you know what I'm saying? You have to be locked in, you have to kind of isolate yourself, you have to kind of zone in, you can't just travel, you can't do all these different things. Like I just got back from the Gymshark event. It's like if I was in prep, I can't do that, you know what I'm saying? And I've tried doing that before, but like now it's like now I know that I can't do that unless I'm gonna have everything I need in order to kind of go to these events and do those things. Like if I don't have a Deadlift bar, if my nutrition ain't on point, then there's no point in me, traveling and doing all these different things and having fun. But also it's like me saying that is like I gotta do these things because these help continue to build my personality and what I'm trying to do. Like powerlifting is cool, but like it's my base. But like I gotta do all these other things to kind of be somebody.
Well, that's our big
But
issue. Well, number one, I think I speak for Ron.
I think I just said a lot of nothing, but I,
No,
I think I made sense.
I got what you're saying. Ron, you got what he's saying, yeah?
I always get what Jamal is saying.
There you go. What's it called? I think I speak for Ron and I when we say that, like, opening Instagram and seeing a 10 carousel post of 3 squat triples and then 3 bench triples and 3 blah, blah, blah makes us significantly happier than opening it and seeing another 900-pound deadlift. Like, it's very noticeable that you are trying to, come down and build your base and blah, blah, blah. But as the archetype, right, that's the biggest problem in our sport is that there's no financial incentive through competition. As pretty much the archetype for the guy that came into powerlifting and solely off of just being strong, right? You weren't doing these skits. You weren't doing all of these random things to gain clout and not like whatever, throwing integrity out the window. You were just lifting and built yourself into somebody that is the only powerlifter that can really say they make like a straight up living off of solely powerlifting. That balance is extremely difficult. You're talking about this end of whatever, this one last meet, and then whatever, good performance, and then on to whatever it is. What do you see for yourself outside of powerlifting? I know you were flirting with bodybuilding maybe, or whatever it was. Once this last meet performance happens, do you see gym lifting and just doing this freaky stuff in the gym, carrying on that Jamal name, or just being with Gymshark and just being, like what is it after powerlifting, if you've given any thought to it at all?
I mean, right now, how I see things, since my expectation when it comes to powerlifting is so high, it's hard to, in a sense, fall short of that. And when you fall short of that, it's like sometimes I'm at what's how to say this. I'm at war with myself because like okay, like I know I'm better than this, and it's like I keep falling short of being my ego. You know what I'm saying? My ego is here when it comes to power. When it comes to other things like me joining bodybuilding is like okay, cool. Like I can just go and have fun and like test myself to get shredded. And it's like my expectations are super low. So it's like I could I think after powerlifting, I'm going to probably transition to bodybuilding where I can still remain competitive and still do something. The goal is to get my pro card and in a sense I'll be the strongest IFBB pro. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be cool. It'd be cool to say that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like right now the incentives with powerlifting aren't high. You know what I'm saying? They're much higher and more rewarding with different other things. So it's like, why not, while I can, explore those other things and, in a sense, fulfill all my potential while I can, instead of like solely focus on one thing. If I keep focused on this one thing and keep falling short of it, I'm going to forever be in a cycle of, what I'm saying, kind of being in the middle of it. But if I take a step back and focus on these other things where I go go and do a bodybuilding meet and, you know, a bodybuilding comp and get shredded and, you know, build that journey like through social media, that's through Instagram, that's through YouTube, and build that storyline. I just think it's more fruitful for me and my personal brand to do so. Then also being a Gymshark athlete and everything is like, it's only going to continue to take me higher. Instead of like, yeah, powerlifting is cool, but with everything that's going on, feds, you know, doing different things, a lot of things in the back end, just a lot of changes. And it's like, why not just focus on myself instead of keep trying to give back to something that's not given to me? Because like when you go back 5 years ago, like the current, all these meets were like giving money away. That's life changing money. You know what I'm saying? And there's no meets that are doing that nowadays. There's no money in the sport on the tested on untested side. We don't have a Sheffield. We don't have, you know, those, you know, meets where all the big lifters are going to and doing it. And it's like, if we had something like that, I think that would make the sport more like always on one platform. You have, you know, two flights of lifters, and you make it like the Strongman did with the entertainment factor. Anything can happen, you know what I'm saying? And that brings more money to the sport. But right now, everyone kind of just doing whatever. There's no set schedule. It's hard to prepare for certain things because everything's all over the place. And there's too many feds, a lot of moving parts. And for me, like I don't know about half the stuff that's going on until I talk to one of you guys.
It's
You
hard
know,
to
so
know what's going on. You have to try to know what's going on with the amount of things that are going on. So that's
a
something
lot of things going on behind the doors. Yeah.
is money. Come back to PLU.
What you say?
I said that's something else you want to see out of PLU is bringing money meets back, because that's one of the biggest things that I said was these invite only money meets are like that's what propped up Untested for at least the prime of it over.
Yeah, that was the goal. Like if I could have went to did the current and like that's like I didn't even give him like 50K. Like that was crazy money.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
Ron,
saying?
deal with all this financial incentive, bro. Well, I guess
Uh,
you're from it, but like
Wait, I'm what?
you've been kept from it. I don't even know how much money. I would love to. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna total up the amount of money you would have won by now if you were able to compete over the last 6 years. But with the financial incentives coming up, like a ton on the is it weird for you to see like this massive switch of just like that was the whole thing. The whole argument for Untested 5 years ago was like, cool, we'll lift. You guys will lift. You know, you're on your stiff bar and like cool chip on your shoulder. We'll lift bigger weights and make money over here. And now it
Yeah.
seems just like, you know,
So I have two questions, right? And these are two massive questions. Maybe I shouldn't ask them at the same time. But the first one is this, Jamal, what what is like the performance, like that last performance? Because you were even telling me before the Ghost Clash, you were telling me that that could have been your last meet if it went like, basically like the way you wanted it to. Um, but obviously, you felt like if you left like a lot still to be done. So I guess what sort of like numbers are you looking at for that like last meet to be like, all right, cool, I'm done. I don't need to do anymore. I feel like I've made my stamp. And then the next question, which is again another big question, is do you wish that you had like served your suspension and stayed tested or
good
not?
question.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I'll answer the second question first. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm gonna say no because it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of good came from something bad. And I've been able to kind of live a great life now that, you know, things happen the way they happen. You know what I'm saying? I can't go back and look at it like, okay, if I would have served that suspension or if I would never got suspended, there's no telling if I would have been where I am right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I can't say for sure that me serving the suspension would do me justice. You know what I'm saying? I think regardless of what, there's a lot of good that came from that, and I'm blessed to be in a much better position now.
Yeah.
Now that has happened, that was a really big, like pivotal, like part of my life. And yeah, so and I guess my goal numbers when I said I think I can say I'm all said and done. I wonder how to do like the heaviest 10-time bodyweight total ever at 242. Um, I think if I can total 2,400 at 240, I think that would kind of put me, I think I would have the top 10 total of all time.
Yeah.
And that would, be something crazy that's never done. And I think my dots would be like 650.
What split do
So,
you see for that?
uh,
What split would you like for that? What's the ideal split?
I think like 840, 530, like 10, is it 1030? Or if I'm like tripping.
Maybe 10. It's
No,
like
yeah,
mid 8s,
10:30
low
would do it.
5s,
10:30.
and like 10:30.
Yeah, so I mean, if that's like, I won't say that. I would say like 820. I think I've been close to that. So it's like it's hard to say.
You could
But
have
it's like
that at the USPA Pro, maybe 826 if you wanted. We were both like,
yeah,
even John
let's
and
say
Andy
let's
were all like, what is going on right now in the warm-up
yeah,
group?
I was on one, but I mean, yeah, 820, 530, 1050, any like kind of variation in those numbers, it's whatever. I think it's possible. It's just I just have to have everything clicking and be on point. And yeah, at that point I'll be done because like I'm not going to continue to push myself and like continue getting hurt and continue doing these things where I can just go over to bodybuilding and just have some fun, have like an hour session. I can still lift heavy and just be cut up and rip and just do well in life, you know what I'm saying?
I
But
think
I don't know,
like it's
no.
hard workout. It's not to discredit bodybuilding by any means, but it's just a different type of pain. Like pushing yourself like muscular, 15th rep of a set versus like I'm gonna put something on my spine that I've never put on my spine before is like two very different type of like hurts. It's a fun push yourself versus like a ow, like this sucks,
Yeah.
like thing. So
And
I
any like we can get injured much faster than someone doing bodybuilding.
so much
Yeah.
faster. Are you kidding me? You just have to whatever, be smart as
But
you
I think like especially like when it comes to pros and cons of those, like if you did bodybuilding, you have so much time on your hands. Like imagine not having to do a fucking 4.5 hour SBD session. You know what I'm saying? I can just go hit chest and back and get out of there, bro. Like, like 3 movements for each and be good.
Like imagine if your content was a picture, not like waiting for week 4. You know what I mean? But like every week coming down, it's so much better for social media. And we've seen pretty much, I can't think of a single power lifter or other whatever strength sport athlete.
I mean, the best example is Larry Wills.
Is who?
Larry Wills. Larry Wills did a great transition over to bodybuilding.
Larry's like something else. When he's done that with everything, that's like literally.
But like him, if he just went straight to bodybuilding, he would still been Larry Wills. You know what I'm saying? But like that was crazy. Like I say all the time, I wish I was who I am at the time. Larry and Kevin Oak and Dan Green were like them, like being like and competing with those and those back at like bosses meet. Like that would have been dope, bro. But I came like
through with Bob. Like Bob, you remember that Tiger Strength or White Tiger Strength, whatever his name was, I don't remember. But Oak, BTC, and Kevin Oak in Mount Vernon. If you were in that room, bro, I don't even know where you'd be right now. Like I genuinely don't know. That was about the freakiest. Those are golden era YouTube sessions and powerlifting sessions to watch. All of those.
We was back in the basement with the washing machine in the back.
Don't even.
Like
I got to do a podcast. It's the coolest thing ever.
Like I think if those guys were around now, Untested would be much different.
Agreed. Not even a question. Yuri, all of that. The guys that I grew up watching and like that really brought me into it. That was all right, Ron, when you're talking about like freak factor, easier to see with those guys. It was like those dudes just stepped up and you're just like, who is that? Like these freaks coming out of these like little crooks and crannies and just like being absolute animals. That's the word I'd use to describe it. Freaky. Every time we've said freak, I've watched Ron like laugh, and I'm like trying to keep it in.
So I think it sounds more like of a thing when you say freak factor versus freaky factor. You know what I mean?
Jamal,
like freak factor is like I can get with
that. I said freakiness.
Yo, all right, but. What's it called? All I was trying to say was anybody that transitions out of, I've yet to see a single athlete transition out of a strength sport and do a bodybuilding show where it didn't massively benefit all of their platforms on social media and blah, blah, blah. Like if you take the time to build this much muscle over time, I feel like you almost have a duty, whether it's on a stage or not, to be like, all right, what do I look like? Like, let me shred all this down and just it's like cool. But to that first question that Ron had, if you want to touch on that. Oh, we did. That was the split. So you touched on whatever ego, right? And you were saying like my ego won't let me, you know, I need to like beat out my former self. And like, even if you go do great at a meet, if it's not your best, like it's like, damn, like that wasn't, you know what I mean? In such an individual sport. How do you feel ego wise, or does it affect ego at all? Seeing up and comers. Well, I guess actually they're both moving to 275 shortly here. But when I say the names Derek and Colton, like what pops into your head? How has it been watching these guys build?
It's been crazy. I mean, honestly, my time is not saying my time is coming to an end. Like I can still be competitive, but like this is what the sport needs. You need guys coming to kind of push the barriers and the limits. Because like I think I did my part by pushing things, and it's like it's time for someone new to come. It's like you always got to reset the standard and raise the standard. And Colton and Derek are both doing that. So it's like as long as you can continue to progress strength, that's the goal. Because like in 10 years, I mean, you're gonna have guys who are much stronger than both of us, you know, all of us, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
I hope
in that is like and that's what's supposed to happen, you know what I'm saying? Especially with just human anatomy. Like no one knows what you're capable of until you're capable of something, you know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of seeing it happen is like, okay. It pushes me to be better, but also it's like, okay, I'm still in awe, you know what I'm saying? Because there was a point in time where it's like someone told me I couldn't be like a Kaler or a Yuri, you know what I'm saying? And I surpassed that. So now it's like someone's probably telling them, oh, you can never be like Jamal, and they're surpassing me. And it's like, that's what's supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at it. Like, the only thing you're going to do is either push me to be better or push me out. You know what I'm saying? That's all you can do. Because if I can't, if I know can no longer compete with you guys, hats off to you. I'm stepping away. You know what I'm saying? I'll be on the sideline clapping, you know, cheering y'all on. But like they're doing what they're supposed to do. You know, Colton is a three. He's a dog.
Yeah. Did you see what he just did yesterday? I know it's rap, but he just squatted 896 for a 3x.
Yeah, bro. Like he's in uncharted territory. Like, bro, like you're not supposed to be that strong. Like when I first started seeing him, I'm like, there's no way this fucking weight is real.
Yep, me too.
This has to be fake, bro. Like,
yeah,
because ain't no fucking way, bro. Like, there's no way he's squatting, you know, mid-8s and saying, yeah, this is bare knee. Like, what?
Bare knee, bro.
What do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, what do you want right now? Like, niggas, like his bench is like he's literally benching like 500 for like sets of 4. Like, and he's like linear progression. Like, how are you doing this right now? Like, what are your joints made out of? Like, what are you taking, bro? Like what are you like? Whatever you're on, I need to be on because this is crazy. Because there ain't no fucking way.
Bro,
and that's like, but it's like I can only you know just sit back and watch because like it's crazy to see that, and it's like, hey, all hats to him. You know what I'm saying? I just hope he stays healthy and you know continue to put up these numbers on the platform. And like I said, when it's all said and done, since just kind of surveying the field, he's going to give John a run for his money. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be.
They're going. So they're going head to head in what's it called? At the Power Clash in abs. I think it's in Ireland. Wherever it is, it's going to be insane. And I can't say I like the format that they're going head to head in. They're going head to head in like he did at the Kern, right? With Dan Bell and with Chad, where he's going to go in with sleeves, and it's a total wins meet. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about that, but at least the Rumble is. And if they're going to go compete on total, and one of them's in wraps, like I don't know, but
another thing. Let's do away with wraps. Why are we still doing wraps in 2024?
All right.
Why?
Here's the thing. I agree with you 1,000%.
But I know wraps are, you know, like a big, like in like across like outside the US.
Yes.
And that's the only thing. But like if we cut down, like wraps take too much time. If we just go to strictly knee sleeves, I think that raises the standard. And then that kind of
not even just that. You're right. It does, you know, of course. But the biggest thing for me is the way that wraps were the thing, right? 10, 15 years ago. Hold on. Guys were in wraps. What?
Rondel, where the fuck are y'all driving? Because I know Trinidad is only so big, bro. Like, are y'all driving around in circles or what? Like, what's going on?
Circles is crazy.
Bro,
So we basically had like a few stops after the gym. So I don't have anything to do, but she does. So yeah, that's what we're doing right now. But we headed home right now though.
It's covering.
Wait, ain't no way they're still driving, bro. It's crazy. But yeah, like to your point, I know raps are big overseas and whatnot.
No, but here's the thing, right? Is while Ron's covering the map, we have, right, like the way that wraps were the thing 10, 15 years ago. If somebody went out of wraps and was in sleeves, it was like, what are you doing, dude? You're stealing a competitor away from the legitimate competition, right? Because the legitimate competition was happening in wraps. Now, every time I see a good guy in wraps, like a Colton, like a Dave, like a Dupree's does it sometimes, right? Like things like that. I'm like, dude, you guys should be competing where the competition is, right? Which at the end of the day is in sleeves. It's not even like kind of comparable, right? And the powerlifting outside of the United States, for the most part, maybe outside of like Russia, but it's just like 10 years behind for the most part. And that's not to say that there aren't incredible athletes or whatever it is, but if you literally just track where their mindsets are, it's exactly where the US's was 10 to 15 years ago. Wraps, biggest totals, this, that, not dots, not trying to, whatever it is. But I agree, that's a massive thing that I've been saying for the longest period of time. I don't know why we're in wraps. I don't know why it's cool to lift super physiological loads anymore especially when you have guys raw now that are outdoing anything done in wraps by a bunch outside of Dan Bell's 2600. It's like, I don't see the appeal. So hopefully there's at least a little push towards it. I don't know. Hopefully, once abs gets a little bit more integrated into the U.S. circuit and the U.S. circuit becomes more of a circuit, you were saying everything's all over the place. These meets are 3 weeks apart. Like Power Surge is happening in like 2 or 3 weeks. The American Pros 3 weeks after. People can't compete at both. It's ridiculous. So hopefully, once this stuff gets standardized, maybe some of these European guys will want to join a more like standardized circuit that's majority in sleeves, because we saw all the abs guys go in sleeves at this Rumble, so they're not scared of it. They just
Question. What is it? Was it Title 13?
Article
Or Title
14.
Huh? Is Article 14 for Rondel?
Yeah, for the IPF. Yeah.
What if there was no Article 14 and allow for like a Jesus to come over and compete untested? Like, not saying he can not be a tested lifter, but like he can come over and compete on the same platform as a Dan Bell.
And for me or for Ron?
I'm just saying, like, in general, like,
Ron, what do you think of that? Because I have a lot to say.
Even like a Bob competing on the Deadlift bar, you know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff. Like,
all of it, bro. All of them. But Ron,
that would change the game, bro.
It would definitely change the game, and I think it would do powerlifting as a whole. Just like it would benefit powerlifting as a whole, especially since like as we had spoken about Johnny on the Two White Lights podcast, it doesn't look like if powerlifting is making any strides really, like in terms of getting into the Olympics.
No.
So if that's the case and we're gonna make the sport as big as possible on our own, then something like that would be, yeah, I don't know how, like I can't even like overstate how beneficial that would be for the sport, just to be able to have like the best tested guys come and compete under the exact same standards as like the WRPF would have or anything like that. With the 24 wins, everything, because there's a lot of like shit talk that goes back and forth as well. Like you have guys like Perk or Taylor who might say, "Oh no, like I'm as good as John Hack," or like this or that, and so I think, yeah, it would be good for the sport, but I don't see it happening at all, just because of like what we spoke about on the last episode, where like basically the IPF already won. They won tested powerlifting, so it's like there's no need for them to
it sucks
do
though,
something.
though.
Of course, it
It's
sucks.
like,
remember Raw Unity, Jamal?
No, I don't remember it.
Raw Unity, right? Untested competing with tested. It was like the coolest, most hyped meet ever. It happened, whatever, like 10 years ago. John took part in it. And I think it's one of the only meets he came like whatever 11th or 12th in. He was still tested, but there's never been a cooler time than now, especially with Jesus being the king of the total, regardless of where we're at in sleeves. Where getting all of these superheroes under the same roof
would be crazy.
The game. That's the thing. It's like at the end of the day, we see all this division, right? Like you're in that fed, I'm in that fed. I use this bar. We all squat, bench, and deadlift. That's it. It's really so much more similar than it is different. The fact that we alienate half of our already tiny niche sport because of one rule that gives one fed an overt abuse of power and just a crazy share
That you still have to pay to compete in, which is
It's
crazy.
insane that you still have to pay to compete in, and not even just that, that you're like kept for. It's not like you're under contract and getting. Here's the thing: if you want to say Fed exclusivity, right? Even just for the competitive portion, because I don't know if you know, but Article 14 extends to coaching and handling at meets. If Ron were to come handle me, he's banned the exact
he couldn't handle me at my meet.
Exactly, me neither. He's there in the crowd, and I'm like, whoa, like Ron, like, and it's not his fault at all. But that part's ridiculous. But even just the competitive clause, how much it hurts. Where if we could get SBD or whatever, another big company to come in and put up big money for a meet like Raw, Gymshark would do it in a heartbeat. That would be
if honestly, I could pitch that, but it's like my thing is like so many tested lifters are afraid of getting banned from a sport that doesn't even pay them. It's crazy. It's like I can see if y'all are getting paid, but you're not even getting paid. You know what I'm saying? You're
contract is different. Like the UFC, you sign an athlete and you pay them something yearly, and you're like, hey, this is what I'm paying you for you to stay in this Fed. This is like, I'm going to take all these freedoms away from you so that you have the opportunity to compete on my platform. It's the most asshat backwards thing I've ever.
Wait, there's a question that I have, right? And I'm sponsored by SPD, so I don't mean anything bad by this, but it's just genuinely something I've always been curious about. Why does SPD sponsor World's Strongest Man, like literally SPD's World's Strongest Man?
But they don't sponsor untested lifters.
Yeah, like
except for Joe.
I never really like understood that, to be honest.
Because World's Strongest Man is such a spectacle of a sport, and it's like those are just huge guys. It's like you expect them to be strong. You don't expect they're strong because of gear use. You know what I'm saying? They're strong because they're just huge guys. So we're able to kind of do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that's where I'm like, because like there was years ago I was actually SPD for a sponsorship. It's like, nah, you can't because you tested, you failed drug test. I'm like, what kind of shit is that? Like, but you sponsor a Brian Shaw or somebody, and hella like what's never taken. You know what I'm saying?
They sponsored Joe Sullivan, or at least we're in talks with him like big time. And then what I think it is the fact that I have a few things on SPD, to be honest, but the first to this point is the fact that we're open about it. Because I think they started talking with Joe and whatever deal they had going, and then Joe started being open about, I don't think it was gear, but I think it was just peptides and whatever, like selling this stuff on his story. And they were like, whoa, you talk about it? We can't have you publicly talking about this with our name here, right? Because a lot of the stuff in Strongman is just super hush-hush. But that shouldn't change the fact that, especially now, when this use of gear, right, it's not cheating in Strongman, it's not cheating in Untested Powerlifting, and it's never been more accepted. There's never been more people that understand, why somebody might be on gear. You remember 10, 15 years ago, if you were a fitness YouTuber and came out not natty, it was like the biggest deal in the world. Oh, you scumbag, you're misleading people. Now, as long as you're open about it, nobody cares, like, at all. You gain clout from just being open and transparent about stuff and actually being like reasonable. It's something that I've wondered a ton why SBD doesn't do it. And I also wonder, to the other point, why SBD, out of all the feds, chooses to give money to the IPF that's holding the sport down with that Article 14, right? It's like, out of all.
So let me say this: they're a monopoly in a small market.
Yeah.
Because now, my thing is like, say the company comes over and they win all the top athletes, and they get all the top athletes, you literally the trickle down effect. They're literally, in a sense, making millions off those guys and not paying them. You know what I'm saying? Like SPD doesn't pay well. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they're a monopoly in a small market. When you go to Untested, there's so many small clothing brands that is like it's so hard to compete with. Okay, if the best you're using that, I'm going to use what the best you're using. You know what I'm saying? And it's like now you have a bigger company come in. If they get all the top guys, that changes everything. You know what I'm saying? Just because
Shark, if anything like that were to come in, it's a different story.
Yeah, so like say you have a Rogue or a Gymshark or all these bigger name companies come into the sport, they were literally take over SPD. SPD is like, if you can win over SBD, take over SBD, you literally control majority of the sport.
Yeah.
Wait, does Rogue still sponsor powerlifters? Because I know they used to sponsor Kim Wall
They
for
can,
that.
they do some, but they do more of CrossFit than anything.
This
The
Iron
Strongman.
or whatever that they're doing is like their first like legit entry into anything, and I don't know how well it's going. I know that this meet that just happened this last weekend like didn't go so well. I know Demarius competed like 1 week after the Rumble and actually went up and did something like great, but by no means did we have like the biggest freaks in our sport. I was talking with you about this whatever on FaceTime months ago about Rogue possibly coming in and doing this thing at the Arnold, which I think they are doing, but the route to it is super convoluted and like not advertised well, where like I think you might have to do one of the other iron built games that they're putting on to be eligible for doing the Arnold. I don't know it to like its full intricacies, but they're definitely not all hands on deck like fully here. I just wonder why SBD, inherently you're giving the IPF the power to do what they're doing by continuing to supply them money. Like if SBD were to just say, Pete Spence were to say, hey, if you want to like uphold this, we're not going to sponsor Sheffield. That's it. The IPF has to like immediately, not on the back of Rondel or not on the back of like Rondel has to compete or, not like a favorites thing, but just like, hey, I'm uncomfortable supplying money to somebody that's using it this way. If you want me to keep giving you $500,000 for 2 meets a year, then, take this out of here because this is hurting the sport overall. I just wonder why Pete Spence, and there's been no intervention, not to say anything bad about them. I know Ron, whatever, but I wonder why there hasn't been any intervention because there's room for a lot of it.
I think when it comes to powerlifting being such a sport of inclusion, why are we still so divided as a sport? You know what I'm saying? Why can't we find a middle ground to put everyone on the same platforms? Like the format of a Sheffield could benefit, like if Untested did the same thing, that would be crazy.
That's what I'm
You know
saying.
what I'm saying?
Or if it was everybody together, like at a Raw Unity with 2 separate prize pools for the untested records and the tested, whatever it is. But if we just got the biggest guys, if we got Ron, Bob, Ashton, Jesus, Perk to be up there.
Do you know how much viewership that would have?
With you, John, Derek, Colton,
Cranon, everyone. You know what I'm saying? Everyone.
Of course. I'm talking about the men's side. The women's side would be. The women's side would go crazy, bro. Like the IPF women competing with whatever, Brianni and Denise and like all of that would be, yeah, bro, Raw Unity needs to happen. And Article 14 is the only thing standing in its way, to be honest. And I don't know how we get that to happen. We had the best shot with Sean Koch. I don't know how familiar you were with that situation, but whatever.
I seen that. I think I donated. I donated a little bit.
Me too. But I don't think he has been posting since like, oh, running into all these issues and didn't realize this. And I'm just like, yeah, it's really hard to take down a conglomerate like, the IPF.
Only thing, like I'll talk to Rondel about, only thing it takes is the top lifters to say, fuck this. We no longer going to compete underneath this if this is still here, because in a sense, y'all are, I'm not saying y'all are slaves, but like you're literally just.
That's okay, exactly. Like, I don't know if you watched episode 2, that is directly what we equated this to. And I said the exact same thing. Any man of integrity should not be bowing to this. It's ridiculous. And all it would take is everybody standing up. But nobody just wants to lose like their shot to Sheffield. You know what I mean?
Because like honestly, it's just crazy because like, and it's just like Rondel can't really necessarily train with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not supposed to, because if he did, he'd get banned just based on the rules.
Literally. Like it extended to like, you remember the Corrupted Summit?
Yeah, the seminars. Yeah, I know.
Like Jesus and Fortino couldn't tandem deadlift together or they'd be banned by Article 14.
Which is fucking stupid,
to that degree. On the same weekend that Taylor and Delaney were out in the Rhinos cage at the Olympia, like it's just, there's no standardization and it's just favoritism and like, it's crazy. I can't even talk. It bothers me so much. I can't.
It's the dumbest shit ever, because now it's like, oh, you told me this guy who pays me to coach them, I can't go and coach them at a meet because they're lifting in a different fed that I'm not signed up for. Like what? You told me I can't make money?
Literally.
You told me I can't make money when I pay you to compete here? Like what kind of like that's dumb, bro.
I agree.
Like we all pay to compete. I can see if the Fed was paying all these top lifters thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to, saying you can only be here, cool. But it's not even that.
I feel like if there needs to be like a powerlifters union or something like that.
Literally,
Because it has to be, bro. Because this shit is dumb.
I don't know if you guys have spoken to anyone. Like, I've spoken to officials, anyone besides the IPF executive. No one has ever said Ryan Lapadat from Lifts. Anyone. No one has ever said, I love Article 14. You know what I mean? Like, everybody hates it. So it's like if everyone hates
that's
it,
an internet connection, bro. I knew it was gonna come in. Give it a sec.
but these like 5 people who run the thing.
Oh, Ron, restart. The
You guys can hear me now?
We can hear you, but it's
Alright,
like
yeah.
you're just moving, bro.
Wait, you guys can hear me now?
You're just moving, bro. Yeah, the what's it called? We can hear you now.
No, yeah, I basically said if everyone hates the rule, right? And then there are 5 people who run the federation that love the rule, then why is it a thing? I thought it was like a democracy, you know what I mean?
A democracy. No,
That is a dictatorship, bro.
I was gonna say, bro, we got democracy in one place, and it's this country. I don't know what's going on over there, but something I did want to touch on, not to actually touch on the situation and the intricacies of it, because obviously we know for multiple reasons we can't really expand on it. But I think it's very interesting, right? Or would want to hear from you. Coming from Marietta to Houston, right? You were whatever with GBT and Corrupted, and really like, yes, you're with Gymshark, but the GBT sponsorship and partnership was holistic, right? It was not just who you're doing business with, but it was your gym and it was your friend group and blah blah blah, and whatever way that ended up going. After this kind of all happened, how has life changed? Like, have you enjoyed going to these other gyms in Houston? Like, what has free time been like? What is not being so associated with a brand? Because you're super associated with Gymshark, but not in the same way that you were with GBT. That was like your whole thing. You know what I mean? What has, I guess, life after GBT in the gym and business and just kind of all of that, how has it changed?
It's changed a lot, but like it's more so like when I was in it, my vision of it was much different than, I didn't think it was going to end. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
My expectations from the people around me, like Weez and Dion, are still doing well. Gia, KD, like they're still doing well. It's more so like the company itself. I didn't expect it to fail, just due to the people that we had. We had a really great team of people and like athletes and everything. It's just about if things were done the right way, who knows where we would be. But it's like shit happens. You just gotta kind of roll with the punch and continue moving forward. Just can't stop. The main thing that kind of hurts is because I thought me and Russ were cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, like it's more so more transactional than just genuine energy. And for me, just learning that is like, damn, I thought we were, better than that. But at the end of the day, it's like I still wish him the best. I still wish him success. But it's like sometimes you just gotta move separate ways. You outgrow people, and not everyone there in your life for the long term. Some people just have a season, you know what I'm saying? And that's okay. For me, I just didn't expect it to happen. You know what I'm saying? For me, I was blindsided by how everything just kind of, happened. Just everything just went downhill really fast. And I'm dealing with the personal stuff, trying to be in prep, and like I was moving, trying to do all these things. And once it's like it just kind of got thrown in there, and it's like I never really, in a sense, processed it until like after the comp. And that's why I kind of took time away from like social media and everything, trying to get my mentals back together, because there was so much happening that it's like I didn't expect this to happen at all. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. When you look back at it, like you never know where you're going to be a year later, because like there was a point in time where we were traveling, doing a lot of things, like the gym was thriving. It was like the the new mecca of powerlifting at Corrupted. You know what I'm saying?
Felt
And
like
where we were, yeah, it's like we're literally, in a sense, changing everything. And it's like now we are where people want to be. I remember when it was, Barbell Brigade, it was, up
Yep.
there at Mark Bell's gym, it was, but like when it came to powerlifting, like we were it, you know what I'm saying? And I only expected it to grow from there, but things happen, things change, but you gotta continue to move forward. And, I'm just focused on myself and focus on the things that I can control, and being a part of and building genuine relationships with people. Being part of Gymshark has been amazing. Advances is taking off. Advances is still doing well. I'm with C4 now, so C4 still, they're trying to work their way into like back into powerlifting, different like sports of that nature. So trying my best to kind of help them as well, is kind of bridge together my platform and what they're trying to do, and just bring more money back to the sport. But I mean, it's been good. I mean, there's a ton of gyms here that I've never got to experience.
Yeah,
that I'm kind of experiencing now. Especially in Houston, bro. Like if I would just draw like a 30, if I would basically draw 30 minutes like every direction, I
100.
could literally I literally can go to a different gym every day of the week for like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. Like it's crazy to think about, but that's how many like good gyms there are in Houston. But honestly, it's been cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the most. I'm like right now. I'm okay with how everything happened. There's nothing I can do to go back and change it. So it's like only thing I can do is continue moving forward and continue growing. The things that I have. So that's really about it.
Yeah, just a little disheartening, but like I think it's opened up a lot of opportunities for you, and to see really not be yourself. You're always yourself, but without having you're such a big name, right? You could have had your own GBT if you wanted to, right? It's not you.
Own brand, yeah.
These other brands, but to see the name Jamal Browner under a different banner, like so consistently, that banner being removed, whether it was nice while you were there or not, it's like I think it's overall a positive, and you've been able to really branch out more as like Jamal instead of like Jamal under GBT, even whether that was like a positive thing while it was happening or not. Yeah, when it comes to this training at other gyms and stuff, I actually wonder, why don't you train with Derek?
I mean, he's hit me up to train before, but I don't even know where he trains at. I don't even know where their gym is. I've never been to.
He's opening a gym, actually, in like whatever, a few months. The only reason I ask, right, is I always get confused where I'm like, all right, I'm me on the pole, right? But on the squat and bench, like I'm strong, but I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not winning a meet. Like I'm not going and competing against John. Like you're one of the people, you're not going to beat John, but like you're there, like you're top. Where if I look around on the deadlift ladder, yeah, there's a few guys, but I can still go squat and bench with a ton of guys and, have a good time. You are looking around and you're like, on all 3 lifts, there's like 2 guys that can push me in my weight class. And one of them's on the opposite side of the world, in Colton. And the other one's like 10 minutes from me. So I always just wondered like why, because I feel like if you guys were to get some good training in together, that would be actually a nice way to push you. Like, no,
I mean, I'm down, but it's also like we're powerlifting. We all have set schedule, different coaches, and we all do different things on different days. 100%. So,
but in Corrupted, I know it probably wasn't an option too. So I was wondering if that was even a thought coming out of that. All right, let me see here. I wrote a few plans after bodybuilding. So on top of who do you think is on the rise, I guess, because we talked about it with Colton and with Derek or blah, blah, blah. Who do you think overall, not just in your weight class, are you looking forward to watch over the next like 5-6 years that you would hope would come and take some stuff?
I mean, Colton for sure. Derek. I mean, there's only 2 people I follow. They're kind of legitimate, like, they're kind of doing something. I don't really follow too many up and coming powerlifters. So if I see it, I see it. If I don't, then I'm not really like focused on like I'm not consumed in powerlifting like I used to be. So, like I follow more tested guys than I do untested. So
yeah. Well, which is completely fair. There's it's a lot easier to follow tested right now and actually get invested in people's roots from a regional to a national to worlds to Sheffield.
the storyline is a little bit different. Yeah.
Even if they aren't as strong, it doesn't matter. You feel like you're following like an athlete.
that's like going through a route instead of following like a nomad who's just kind of out on his own, trying to get as strong as possible, pop into a local meet and like take a world record.
Yeah.
He has his head in the right place right now for the first time in a decent bit. He's coming back to the Kabuki and like actually whatever
Kabuki.
like that K, which I know you're somebody that's touted Shane's potential for I don't even know how long, not just in strength, but just overall as like a social media.
Shane, he's
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. I mean, I'm glad he's kind of back mentally.
That's one.
Yeah. He was on the tear at one point. I thought he was
Bro,
good.
That
Him, Brandon, all of them, like they were getting strong.
An up and comer we lost right there, Brandon. That would have been the craziest thing ever. But yeah, you remember 2021 hybrid coming in. That's something you had to pull mixed because of whatever was going on with your thumb.
I couldn't hold on anything.
Yeah, but wasn't it torn? Or were you just like,
yeah, I just kept tearing it, but I still almost pulled 950 mets on a fucking whim, so I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it went great. But you remember that meet when Shane and Brandon came in and like, even though whatever you and Dan and John were like, best perform, and Jawan actually had a massive performance at that meet. That was like the first meet where it was like, ooh, Russ, like you might actually be able to bang heads here. But almost like the talk of the meet was like Brandon and Shane being like, dude, who are these two guys? And Brandon obviously is lost at this point. But just seeing Shane like return after, whatever, a year and a half, a bunch of personal stuff and a bunch of, other stuff going on, but coming back and being like that Shane that's waking up at like, I open Instagram and I wake up at 8:30 or 9 and I see 3 hours ago, Shane pulled 9. I was like, all right, Shane's in the right mindset. He's actually like, back, and Kabuki. So yeah, I don't know. And then I guess the last one I had here, or at least written down, was who did you look up to and who got you into the sport? Because, right, like for me, you were one of the guys, that got me into here amongst, the guys before you, where I watched Yuri and whatever, all of them. But who, if you were to like kind of attribute you getting into the sport, outside of, I think Russ is one of them for you, probably, right? I mean, Russ got everybody into the sport to a certain degree.
Yeah. So I mean, let me go back a little bit. So I don't know if you know Leanna Carr.
Yeah.
So I think she went to UGA at the time, but at the time I'm from Athens, and I was trained at a random gym, and I ran into her, and she's powerlifting, and trying to talk to her. I'm like, yo, like, what do you do? Like, she competes in USAPL. I'm like, that's dope. So that's like my first exposure to like kind of powerlifting. But I mean, I've always seen on like YouTube where it's like the backyard meets with like Dan Green and all them. But it's like I never knew how to kind of get into the sport for real. I just I started looking in because I'm still trying to play football and whatnot. But then it came to the point where it's like I'm in undergrad and it's like, okay, I think I'm gonna be a bodybuilder, but I'm not really like taking bodybuilding seriously. But me and Marcus Adota, Marcus. Me and him were kind of internet friends at the time. And we just always kind of like chopped it up and talked about different things here and there because he went to a HBCU in North Carolina. I think he went to NCAT, North Carolina A&T. And I went to Albany State down in Georgia. And we just kind of talked about different things, and we both were following Russ at the time. And Russ was, like starting to compete. He did like a couple powerlifting meets, and like now we're like kind of talk about that. And then Marcus did his first meet, and he was like, "Yo, Jamal, you never gonna take powerlifting seriously? I mean, you never gonna take bodybuilding seriously? Just want to sign up for a meet? Just come over to powerlifting."
Marcus,
I literally signed up for.
Wow, I did not know that. That's awesome.
I literally signed up for a meet. I was like 2 weeks out, and 2 or 3 weeks out, I literally bought like a string shot belt. I bought some, lifters because I thought I needed lifters.
Yep.
I went and got a fucking wrestler singlet from my buddy Chance because he had been using singlets because he wrestled since like 86. So I knew I could get a singlet there. And it was up the road. So I'm like, fuck it, let me go do it. Went there, did it. I did well. And one of the head refs, he's a heavier set black guy. He still refs at meets. I don't know his name, but he's like, yo, you strong. You should go do nationals. I'm like, where's nationals? He's like, it's in Atlanta this year. So lo and behold, that's right up the road. I'm broke. I'm a broke college student. I can barely fit anything. But I can drive 4 hours to go do a meet. So that meet I did qualified me to do nationals at the time. So I literally got a coach and started, training, getting much stronger. And when I did nationals and
What was your first
did
coach?
well, Vanessa Gale, pretty strong powerlifting.
I
Yeah, that's a crazy story. Because when I got banned, she literally cut off all my like she took away like all my training. Like I couldn't see like everything that I'd done to get that strong.
shared
And
your
she literally yeah, she wouldn't share it and literally like dropped me as an athlete and everything. Like it was bad.
bro, Jesus.
Then I couldn't get a coach for forever because I was tainted goods. I was like I asked Joey Flex, he's like, nah, I can't even do it. He's
No
like, I can't be
way.
a part of this.
Really?
I was asking, yes, bro. Everyone, bro.
Bro,
Everyone, no one wanted to do anything to do with me. So I was like,
what a miss, bro. Jesus. Ron, good job, bro.
then I went to
Wait, so Jamal, wait, how long was the period between being coached by a coach who had dropped you till you started up with us?
it was like a year and a half, 2 years.
And there was a coach in
Damn.
between.
No, so I was literally letting fucking Ashton and Chestnificent
Wow,
do
bro.
fucking letting them do their experimental program with me because they were like some wild shit. It's all like percentage based stuff. I was doing it, but I was getting stronger. But because I know Ash at the time was fucking like Ashton been strong for forever.
Forever.
So it's like so that happened, and it's like okay, let me just fuck it, let me just go to Rondel and talk to Sandra, and we've been locked in ever since. So.
Bro, thank God. And yeah, actually, I was gonna say another question I got in here was where did you meet Ron? Like, what made you go with Ron, or how'd you even like discover him? And then how's it been being like business partners, friends, and like all because me and you are just friends, but like you guys have an entire different idea. Like you guys selling these programs that crush it as business partners and athlete coach and just as boys. Like what brought you to him in the first place?
So I've known Rondell since like 2017, 2016, when he went to IPF Worlds and like basically won as a junior.
Yeah,
And
2018.
but I knew him before that. But what happened was I knew someone else was on verge of like deadlifting a lot in the 230, like 105 class. And he was like my direct competitor at the time because he was like fucking insanely strong overseas. Like I didn't have it squat, but like deadlift wise, we were close. You know what I'm saying? I think him and Garrett Blevins, they were like close in squat. Because like squat at 700 at the time was like you were elite of elite in the 105. So I was like, I'm just chasing deadlift. And what happened? I went and did an NAPF meet. I broke the deadlift junior record because I was about to age out. Then like a week later, fucking Rondell broke it, some fucking random meet, and after that I got banned. Now I'm just fucking. I broke it for no reason. I went up there for no reason. But I literally had to raise money for that meet. I had to go fund me and everything. Went up there. I mean, I did what I had to do, and I just kind of followed Rondell and Sanders for a minute. So, and after that, we just kind of locked it in, and they were coaching me at first. Then it was like, yo, let's make programs. And they say no. I would just kind of at first I was just like, okay, someone that come to me for coaching, I would literally just here you go,
It's over. Yeah.
here you go, because I'm not gonna like I'm so focused on myself. It's hard for me to give back to people. You know what I'm saying?
I've done the same
I
thing.
don't.
Do it. I don't know how many
So
people.
I just literally shoveled them that way. So then it just came an idea like let's do programs. You know what I'm saying let's do one time buys, and we started doing those, and really just kind of changed the game.
Was
So
it Jamal V1 that that 1,000-pound pull in Marietta was for, or was that later?
I think that was the deadlift V1.
yeah, that was the Deadlift one. But it was like we literally like that was on a fucking whim, like
I
which
know.
is
I remember
crazy.
the YouTube video for it. You were like, yeah, like I was gonna pop out, like do something for the for the program. Ended up being a K. That was insane.
It's
And
crazy.
talk about you desensitizing people to 900 pounds, sure. But what you've really done is desensitize people to 1,000 pounds more than anything. It's something that literally only two of you have accomplished in the sport, and you've done it, whatever, like twice on the platform or 2 or 3 times on the platform. Danny's done it 2 or 3 times, but people are so numb to 1,000 pounds because of the amount of times that they've watched you just rip this off the ground. But by no means should it be normalized or whatever it is. When you did that, I think you did it on pounds before that, right? Like way before.
I had been trying it for forever, but then I finally got it.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
I mean, that was insane. That was one of the first videos where I learned about Ron outside of just him. Like, I knew of Ron because of the 2018 Worlds, right? Like, I just knew he won. But
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about Ron since after the ban and after, like whatever, all of the things with the TTPF. Like, he was just this freak that like kind of dropped off, and I was just like, oh, I have no idea where this guy is. And that
Wait, Johnny, did you buy the deadlift you won?
No, I was with a coach. So this
Oh.
was, but this is my whole thing. No, because I was with Dawson at the time, right? Where
Yeah.
when me and Jamal met, you were a dick. And then when we met, whatever, 6
Wait,
months.
I was a dick?
No,
Or
Jamal
Jamal
was a dick.
No, that was a hybrid, right?
Bro, you know,
I didn't know you.
You're
You
right.
were a hybrid, bro. I didn't know you. You asked for a spot and he failed it.
Bro, I got I'm gonna tell that story real quick because that's the funniest shit. Bro, it was 2021 hybrid, which was my first big meet. I was going to handle Brandon. And like as the kid I was just following, I just had all of my superheroes around. I'm like, holy shit, there's Jamal. There's Dan. There's, it was insane. And even in the crowd, we had like Stan Efforting walk in. I was dumbfounded. It was insane. And the only guy that was like, I mean, whatever, everybody was cool with me, but they didn't know me. Juji Mufu, because we met him in 2016 at the Chicago Fit Expo, me and my brother, was our dude for the day outside of Brandon and Shane, who, whatever, we were all coached by the same guy at a point. But Juji was super cool. The next day we went and squatted, and Juji leaves, and you and Garrett and damn, I don't remember who the third guy was, but I'll walk into the gym and I finished benching, finished squatting, finished deadlifting, everything. I was like, yo, I got to bench. Like, I got to do something. Like, I can't re-squat. I can't re-deadlift. Like, I'm going to throw some shit up on bench, and it can't be, like, bitch weight. So I loaded up, like, 320 at the time, which was, like, a 5-kilo PR, making all this awkward eye contact with you across the gym. And you just look up at me, and you're just like, you need help? Because I was like, I definitely just fucking staring at you, like, super awkward little fan. You know what I mean? You're like, yo, you need some help? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. A spot, please. Like, yeah, absolutely. I get on this bench. Bro, it was the most aggressive staple. I don't think I've ever been stapled like that on a bench press in my entire life. It was a straight up upright row for you. And you literally put it back, and I was like, bro, I'm purple in the face. Like, I just went up to, like, my fucking high school crush. You know what I mean? And I just got denied. And
That's
I just got that ass, bro. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Like, I'm like, yo, this is like, I watch this dude on YouTube. Like,
But you understand that, like, for me, I'm just Jamal, you know what I'm saying? I don't think of myself as
but you gotta
better
think
than you, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like I didn't know what I meant to you at the time. I'm just a normal guy.
What is going on?
No, bro, because you gotta see the video. You gotta see the video to understand what we're talking about. You were
for me, it's like I'm just a normal guy. Like I'm in real life, like I'm an introvert. Like I stay to myself.
Of course.
I don't say too much of anything. I'm quiet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you asked for like I know you needed help. Like, bro, you shouldn't have done that. Like, you should have just like, if you know you weren't gonna do it, like, why are you wasting my time? You know,
100%. Bro, I literally got stapled. Jamal rips the shit off my chest, throws it in the rack, and I like hesitantly turn around and be like, "Thank you." And Jamal just looks like, "Yeah," like walks away. I was like, yo, I was like, "No way, bro!" But then whatever, I got stronger. Went with Ron after that hybrid, and you did not connect the dots at all. Then we went to go handle you. Me and Ron, and we went to go handle you and Brandon at the showdown. When you guys both loaded.
Yeah, we met multiple times before that, but like, yeah.
No. Then this was the showdown, and we were in.
No, we met before that.
No,
we met again. No, we did at Power Bill, the first Power Bill.
After
it was me. No, that was after.
After, because you'll remember
it was me, you, Liam, and like all his brother.
Later, this was me, you, Ron, Dawson, Shane, Crystal. I think that was it. We were locked in Strong Barbell Club super late at night after the showdown. And you were giving Shane and Dawson advice on whatever. Like, don't burn the candle too hard at both ends. Like, Shane, you're on a rocket ship right now. Just like take it chill. Don't do all this stuff. And I was like, yo, Jamal. You're like, what's up? I'm like, do you remember like back at like Hybrid 2021, there was like this kid that asked for like a spot on bench and got absolutely stapled, and like you rode the shit off his chest. You're like, yeah. And you like laughed about it. And I was like, that was me. And you were like, that was you? And I was like, yeah, that was me, bro. And you're like, what, bro? And then I went with GBT, and then whatever. I deadlifted. It was horrible. 727. I was like dying. And then Nabil bought me a flight to that power build thing at like 5 a.m. I had zero food, I literally deadlifted the day before. I felt like trash. And the one thing I texted Ron I was like, hey, like, I'm here to meet and greet. I'm here to sign things or, you know, talk and like take pictures, whatever. I'm not going to lift. But I was like, just so you know, like, if Jamal asks to like pull, like, I'm going to pull with Jamal. Like, I don't know, you know, what's actually going to end up happening. I think you were going for like 905 for 3. And Ron,
No. I remember that meet and greet. Remember that we met before the first power bill because Garrett was there. It was the first one in the little small gym.
Power Bill, bro. I've never been with Garrett and Power Bill. I
Yes,
don't know.
you have.
At Conshohocken. At Conchi.
What?
Yes, the first Power Bill, the OG Power
The
Bill.
first, the OG, yeah.
Yes.
Because like Heather Connor and everyone was there.
Yes, which I wasn't there. It was one of the only weekends I was really pissed.
I could have sworn you were there. Because I met Liam and all them there.
For sure. And that's when Liam was telling me, he's like, bro, Jamal's like such a cool, you know, whatever. He got to meet you.
And I think you broke the platform, right, Jamal?
Yeah.
I remember Tom
I
and
might have.
Liam saying you broke the platform.
Yeah.
I might have. I don't remember.
That was a sick session. That everybody like up there, all those pictures from that session are so sick. But whatever. And then obviously the rest is history. Whatever. We went to GBT, you asked to pull, and whatever. I pulled that 827. You pulled the 905 for 3 at the time, or was it 925 for 3? It was an all-world record at the time, which is
I think it was 925 for 3.
It was at 925 for 3, which like within a year you were doing like 916 paused for 4. Like it was just so quickly, you know, whatever you surpassed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually really funny to think back on all that. And you remember the video, you remember the post I'm talking about.
Yeah.
At hybrid and all that stuff. But I mean, yeah, beyond that, that's honestly all I had written down for questions. But that's our first cast. Do you have anything else?
You know what's crazy? I just got home. So I finally have a stable connection.
Well, I mean, you got anything else?
Wait, did we talk about the whole Marietta versus Texas thing? Just in terms of like,
I think I asked it, and then I think we got on a massive tangent.
Yeah,
because that's actually something that's a huge point. Is what differences in like lifestyle and training overall do you notice? Was it easier for you to put your head down and train in Marietta before all of the social media and before all of the platform and, you know, whatever that you currently have in its size? What's the juxtaposition for you between like Marietta Jamal and being Jamal?
In Marietta, I was still like my goal was never to be where I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought at times I was gonna be like a collegiate strength coach, and that's I was getting my master's and everything. I was in a 6-year relationship. I think I was gonna get married soon and everything. So that me being in that position was a whole different version of me. You know what I'm saying? Like my mindset was like, this is my hobby. This is my get away from the world. And training, I was able to kind of give my all to training because I mean I was still able to give my all to training after the fact, but like at that point it was like that was like my stress reliever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was pure. You know what I'm saying? Like I love training. Like even today I still love training, but there's more expectations when it comes to training. You know what I'm saying? Like it was easier to build then because I was still building my name and who I am. You know what I'm saying? Now that I have a name, it's more about maintaining and building on top of what I've already built. You know what I'm saying? So it's two different versions of myself. And here is like, okay, now I've taken, like when I moved here, I had less than 5K saved. I had broken the lease. I had just got out of a 6-year relationship. I had been on my own for all of 8-9 months. You know what I'm saying? For so long, I was dependent on someone else to kind of, you know, help me live my life that it was more like I didn't know how to do life by myself and by like alone. So like once I took the chance, like, okay, I have my own apartment, I have my own place, but now I get to kind of travel and do these different things. I was visiting Houston, and this was like during COVID and everything is happening. So it's like, okay, like this is cool. Like I'm kind of getting experienced like more of the world. And it's like things I've never got to experience before because for so long, I'm thinking that, like I always wanted to move, you know what I'm saying? I always wanted to move to Texas. But in order for me to move, I would have to get her to come with me. You know what I'm saying? And when that ended, it's like, okay, I can do everything that I want to do for myself now. That, you know what I'm saying, I don't have anything holding me back. You know what I'm saying? yeah, I love my family. Yeah, I love the people over here, but like, I gotta do what's best for me. You know what I'm saying? And the people at Marietta were cool. Like, I love the owner, like, to this day. Miss Jean, dopest woman ever. But like, she was like 70 years old, full of energy at all times. Like, she didn't like, that's just who she was. But it was so there wasn't a lot of people doing what I was trying to build and do there. You know what I'm saying? There was more like-minded individuals in Houston. So like in powerlifting is such much weight, much bigger in Texas than anything. And at the time, Corrupted was just kind of opening. So I'm like, okay, I went to the Corrupted opening that summer. And my best friend had passed away. So my best friend had passed away like 3 or 4 days before I was getting ready to go. And I talked to his mom, like, yo, I will stay back. And I said, I won't even go to Houston. I will stay back and come to his funeral. She's like, nah, Jamal, like, Dylan wants you to go. So I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I'm like, I was like, you know, I came down here, even though in a sense grieving in the inside and like not really processing everything. Came down here and had a great time and around a lot of great people. I'm like, okay, it's time for a change. So it's time for me to do something different. So I literally just say, you know what? I visited Houston like 2 or 3 more times, and I say, you know, I'm like, yo, I'm moving. So let's gotta take a chance in life. You can't keep waiting for something good to happen. You gotta kind of make it happen. So I'm like, okay, there's nothing holding me back. I'm here now. Let me go and make the best of Houston. And Corrupted was like, I was not saying I was a mascot to the gym, but like I think I was I was a pivotal part in making the gym what it is, because you could come to the gym and see some of the most insane lifts. You see, you know, some high class training. You see guys in there getting after it. And I think at the time, like, it just, you know, built up, continued building who I am. Then I had a super meet, and you know, it was like we're still up. You know, so I was doing some crazy numbers in the gym, but it was just more. I've been around more like-minded individuals. It allowed me to kind of grow my platform and do more, because, like, okay, I see what they're doing, and it's like, not saying I'm shadowing Russ and how he's kind of moving, but it's like, okay, I notice how he's kind of being, not saying like a character. Like, I know Russ Wall, you know what I'm saying? Like how do I need to become Jamal Browner, the guy, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, because to me at times I'm still just like, when I say I'm just Jamal. I'm just Jamal. You know what I'm saying? Like, but how do I be Jamal Browner? You know what I'm saying? How do I be that guy?
Brand
You know
around
what I'm saying? So now it's building the brand, and like I think I did a great job of doing that. So just getting more of my personality out there, but still trying to stay true to who I am as a lifter, and still getting after it. And I've always said from the beginning, the only thing I ever want to do is just push limits. You know what I'm saying? Like, limits are only limits because no one's reached them. So like, what can I do to continue to propel the sport forward? So I think I did my job. You know what I'm saying? I did what I could while I'm still doing what I can while I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you just gotta give your all. So I mean, it's been great, but like, when you have so much success and different things kind of going on, it takes away from, you know, your base. You know what I'm saying? What got me here? And that was like just getting after it in the gym. Like, still can do that, but there's so much more going on that, in the sense, like, yeah, me getting after it is cool, but it's like that's not gonna always be fruitful in a way that if I kind of transition and do more stuff in this nature on the opposite side, on the back end, that's, you know, from the coaching standpoint, to, you know, putting out programs, to any, like, building, you know, something much greater, that takes a lot of time away from, you know, just strictly training. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So like, now I'm trying to do more of that stuff. And I think once that stuff gets more established, I think I can kind of get back to, like, do I love training? Yes. But do I love being injured and hurt all the time? Fuck no. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, how do I balance everything in the moment? You can't. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. It's hard to be an elite level athlete, then be a business owner, then, you know, continue to, you know, give to everything that needs to be given to, because now you feel like you're being stretched too thin. So it's like, some things you gotta, like, take a back seat, and some things you gotta take a, you know, a precedence. And it's like, okay, now what do the next 5, 10 years look like? Like, what do I need to do to kind of put myself in the best position possible to make my life easier, but make my life more as fruitful as it can be? And when I look at it right now, just based on the horizon and things going on, me being an elite level powerlifter isn't going to be fruitful long term. You know what I'm saying? Just based on what powerlifting is doing. So I have to kind of weigh the pros and cons of, do I continue to try and force it, or do I kind of transition into doing different things and then moving on and being like more of a just making like more fruitful things. So it's like it's there's a lot of pros and cons in it. There's a lot of trying to find balance. There's a lot of anxiety, because it's like, say for instance you were you were an architect or a teacher or a dentist for 10 years. Now you're trying to transition over into being fucking, I don't know, some guy in technology, or you've been a lawyer or doing something different. It's like that transition in life is like, there's a lot of questions on the other side. There's a lot of questions on if you're going to be as successful as you are when you're trying to move on for something that you've known for so long, and something that has built what you've that's like your base here. You know what I'm saying? So what do I need to do to kind of transition into being and do more, but still keep everyone with me? You know what I'm saying? Because without the support of, you guys watching and, friends and family and like having everyone on the same page is like, it's hard to kind of still move over. Because like me at times, like, do I think I can still be successful? Of course. But what am I going to lose in the process? You know what I'm saying? Like, what else is there?
Massive opportunity.
Do I need to? Yeah, like it's just figuring that out. So, I mean, right now I'm trying to balance everything, but still focus on powerlifting, but still kind of give things here and there to kind of continue, put things in place to be like successful in the long run. But at the same time, I'm still like focused on powerlifting. But
there's so many people that like talk about all of these, would love to be in the position you're in when it comes to Gymshark and blah, 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 and just overall making money in the sport. But I think that something people don't think about too often, and the only reason I didn't ask you really about your mindset post powerlifting, outside of just what are you looking to do, maybe bodybuilding, is because I know you're still going to be in a competitive route
I never want to get too far from what I've always known. You know what I'm saying?
Very different if you were going from a 9 to 5, or if you were going to a 9 to 5, right? Then it's really like, hey, how are you preparing for this mental shift of always having a goal? But I think you're still always going to have that goal. But I think what people don't think about, with all the positives that you get from the sponsorships and from all of this other stuff, is the fact that it takes away purity from training. Like, as much of a privilege as it is to get paid for this and get paid for that, do you miss?
It's a privilege to train.
It's a privilege to train, period. But do you miss that purity aspect, to like maybe not having expectations outside of just your followers being like, oh, you're going to pull this next week, but like brands, contracts, riding on your like continued success and blah, blah, blah. Do you miss just being able to train almost with like a more clear head that's just more pure and I guess training and goals based?
At times, yeah, but I also got to understand that where I am, there's a lot of people that would love to be here. You know what I'm saying? So I'll never take it for granted, because I am blessed. I've been, blessed enough to, be who I am in this space, because not a lot of people make it this far. Not a lot of people are able to kind of, like platform be as fruitful, as like where I am right now. So it's like I said, I can never take it for granted. The only thing I can do from here is give back, you know what I'm saying? And giving back in ways that's, that's informational, that's educational, that's, still being who I am. That's what can I do for the sport going forward that's going to, change it for the better and bring more money and more monetary value in that way. So it's like, what can I do now to kind of continue to build myself, also still build the sport itself, because the sport itself is what gave me the ability to be where I am. So what can I do to give back? So just looking for ways to kind of do so. I've talked to Gymshark about hosting meets. I talked about, giveaways, sending like sponsorships and different things of that nature to get more, just people, like a lot of people with powerlift, they're just 9 to 5s.
Yep.
Or they're in school or kids, what I'm saying? A lot of people aren't making money off powerlifting purely. And it's like, what can we do to, in a sense, bridge the gap between being like an elite level athlete, like people in the NFL or, NBA or, track and field, to allow people to kind of train, solely and just be as strong as they can, but also allow them to pay their bills without having to, stress about going to work a 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? What can be done so that a person don't have to fucking coach, 95 guys, in this space, to get, what I'm saying? Like a lot of coaches are coaching, and especially like, I'm gonna make this a gripe. Powerlifters, not saying y'all are cheap, but like a bodybuilding coach, people paying bodybuilding coaches like $500-$600 a month. You know what I'm saying? Just to say, oh, you look good. Oh, let me cut some food out. You know what I'm saying? I know it's more to it than that, but like when it comes to powerlifting training, it's so much more lifestyle based. And it's like there's just so many factors that play from, work to sleep to, diet to all these things. And you have to kind of make, like putting someone's like, oh, okay, we're gonna put 600 pounds on your back today. That's that's different. You know what I'm saying? Like in powerlifters, like if you charge a guy $500 a month, bro, what the fuck? Like, what kind of coach are you? Like, who do you think you are? You know what I'm saying? But like, you go to other sports, bro, like that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Someone's out here paying a personal trainer at fucking LA Fitness, $1,000 a month for like 2 sessions a week.
Yep.
Like, come on, man. Like,
I never
like that's
that because it's coaches that keep it at that rate. If everybody were to just unanimously double their rate, it just is what it is. And I get making it accessible to everybody, but honestly, with the growth in the sport, I think that coaches should be able to live off of coaching without overworking themselves with 80. Like, imagine if the rates were doubled. And Ron, your roster peaked at what?
Most I've had was 70 clowns.
Correct. That's absolutely insane.
That's crazy.
If you've ever coached anybody in your entire life, anybody listening to this, imagine having 70 people to be a real coach. We're not talking about a coach that signs up 70 people and then, takes a week to give feedback or blah, 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 but genuinely giving daily feedback and making sure that 70 people's programs are up and running and that all of these people are happy and blah, blah, blah. If the rates were doubled, you could have taken 35 and make the exact same thing. And then what is that coaching that you're giving, right? Just inherently not having another 35.
It's better quality.
It's better quality. You get what you pay for. So yeah, I 100%. That's something I actually haven't had that conversation in a very long time, but we are by far the cheapest. I think literally the most expensive coach you can get, Prescript, like Jordan Shallow.
Yeah.
I think they charge something, not ridiculous, but like whatever, $400 or $500 a month or something.
But that's rehab and everything included too, though. So.
Exactly. And it's like, hey, I'm a doctor and I'm a this and I'm a that, you know what I mean? Which is the only reason that they can do it. But those are the only guys I know making like a killing off of solely coaching without having to like kill themselves workload wise to do it, if that makes sense.
And coaching and powerlifting is so saturated because a lot of people can just do a meet, say, hey, I'm a coach now.
No barrier to entry. It's horrible. There's like 10 guys, maybe 15 knowers, like really knowing what's going on. Probably like 10, maybe even less. And then you have
there's a lot of good. There's a lot of knowledgeable people out there. Like a Matt Gary, he should be fucking the richest motherfucking powerlifting. You know what I'm saying? Like low key, like he's the best game day coach, and he's a great coach as like coaches coaching athletes.
If you know.
He didn't get the fucking head coaching job at fucking US team. Like
again,
he's literally one of the best guys ever to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's when I beat Ben Rice at that the 8-7 challenge in 2017, I think that was.
Yep.
Usually him and Susan were literally handling it. Like they were top of the line. They made my life easy. I sat back and lowered the bar. He let me know attempts, like let me know the numbers. Just like, bars ready, go out there and do it. Like he made my day easy, boy. Like in my opinion, he's the best.
Matt Gary?
No offense, Ron. Yeah, Matt Gary.
No, but there's
I take no offense.
Yeah, but dude, it was very disheartening to see Matt Gary, and it honestly, the only thing that popped into my head was like, whatever, all this random IPF politics and favoritism. Because I'm like, it's clear
for someone who gave me so much back to the sport, he should be he should be IPF president. Low key.
Please, bro, please. Oh my God, get anybody else in that position, and I think the entirety of powerlifting changes, like significantly. But you guys have anything else on your mind?
No,
not right now. I think I've talked a lot, so.
Oh, that's the whole point, bro. Thank you so much for coming on in the first place and being our first on NOBS powerlifting. This is like,
Hey, listen, hey guys, put a disclaimer. If I said something that was like out of pocket or
Bro,
wrong or
Jamal,
stumble across, I'm
that's what this
sorry.
is for. That's what this is for.
me and Johnny had a conversation about this. Always double down. So if you say something wild and you get backlash,
No,
from it,
hold on a second. I mean everything I said, but sometimes like I'm my problem is I think and I talk at the same time and I stumble across words and we'll talk about something, then we go off on a tangent and we never get back to what we were talking about.
Yep.
So it's like I'm just all over the place.
Yeah, but it's just because we're just doing a group FaceTime that we like normally do, recording it. Like that's all that's going on right now. I'm talking.
I hope you guys enjoyed it though.
for sure.
I am sure they did. Jamal, give us a fuck rising lifters, please.
Why?
Just say it. That's how we end every episode. Just say it.
Fuck rising lifters.
Fuck rising lifters. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Goodbye.